This may be the last time I introduce today's guest as the president of Brevard Community College. No, Dr. Jim Ritchie hasn't announced his departure. The institution is changing its name this fall to Eastern Florida State College. In this week's interview, I asked Ritchie to explain the name change. I also asked him about new degrees offered by the college and what's next for sports teams and construction. Let's talk about the thing that I think a lot of people are talking about in the community, and that is the name change for the college. It's going to be Eastern Florida State.
Eastern Florida State College.
Okay, where did that come from?
Well, actually, that was a function of a vast survey that we did within the community. We involved many folks from industry, from all different parts of the college, faculty, staff, alums, a wide variety of folks all had an opportunity to weigh in on the direction of the college and the naming of the college. And it was something that we were very proud we did. And we listened to folks, and they decided that they wanted a name that was more regional in its name, and okay. So we thought we would go with that, and it's been perceived very well in the community. Thank you.
Why change it?
Well, the college, as you know, has gone from a community college which only offered associate's degrees and certificate programs to a state college which now offers bachelor's degrees. And when you do that, under our accreditors, you have to not refer to yourself as a community college anymore. So that's where the state college and where that elevation of status came in there, and therefore a new name had to be put together and selected.
So what goes into changing it now? I mean, I imagine there's athletic jerseys that need to be changed, merchandise in the bookstore. What else?
Well, of course, you know, we suspect this was coming down the pike for a bit at this point, you know, a bit of time. And so, like even the athletic jerseys and whatnot, you know, they've had Titans on them, but they haven't had, you know, necessarily BCC Titans on them. So we knew that that was going to happen. And to that end, Titans will remain our mascot. And so we're pleased to do that. What goes into it as well is obviously there'll be some changes in terms of the signage. Some of the a lot of the internal things we can do. We have a graphics department already that can change from the logo of BCC to our new logo of Eastern Florida State College.
So we're going to be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks?
We are actually. The legislature, this is a legislative situation where the legislature has to change your name, and both the House and the Senate have passed that legislation, and the governor will be signing it soon. And once that happens on July 1, which is the new fiscal year that all state agencies in the college adhere to, that'll be the time frame with which that Eastern Florida State College will be up and running officially, and we will have a new ad campaign that folks will see and identify with, and we're real excited about it.
So it's not just a name; it's a law now. And now, if somebody has a degree, has received a degree in the past from Brevard Community College, can they get a new diploma or a new certificate that says Eastern Florida State College?
Absolutely, they absolutely can. In fact, on our website, there's a link on there that you can check out that talks about how you go about doing that, who you contact, and how it'll happen for you. So a lot of folks have had that question a lot, and we're pleased to give them those degrees.
Speaking of degrees, you've rolled out this week or announced some new degrees. What are they?
Well, this week we've talked about 4 new associate's degree programs. One is what they call an A&P program, which is an aircraft and power plant program for folks that are aircraft mechanics and people that work on aircrafts. And of course,
that's a big deal now.
That's a big deal. We're very excited about that. It's an economic driver for the county, and we've been approached quite a long time ago to have us consider something along those lines, and we've done it in a very deliberate way, working closely with folks in industry in South Brevard, as well as other institutions and our economic development agencies, the Chamber of Commerce in Melbourne, a lot of other folks to kind of put it together. So we're real excited about that program, as we are our other programs, which are, a lot of them are health related. We have an occupational therapy assistant position degree coming out. We have one for physical therapy assistants. And we have a certificate program for sonographer, and we're also going to have an advanced manufacturing certificate folks to help us in the community work on advanced manufacturing opportunities for them.
So now, is this based on guesswork, or people telling you from the chamber that this is what they think would be a great thing to do degrees on, or do you do research? Where does it come from?
Of course, we get a lot of ideas from folks, but we really do it in a much more research-oriented, much more methodical way. We look at the data that's out there in terms of our region in Florida, and from there we're able to get some good indices of what's available now, jobs that are available now, and jobs that will be available with growth rates anticipated in the future. We try and take that data and then verify that data with our local industry. And we reach out to them in a real substantial way by doing surveys with them, again, through the help of our economic development agencies within the county. And we get a real nice cross-section of the different types of industries, different sizes of industries within that. And they get back to us with what they think they have real needs for. So we verify what people say are the data out there in terms of the jobs, and we try and verify it with folks that you'd say are on the ground and actually in these industries. Then we work together with them to develop the curriculum with their help on our advisory committees as well. So it's very community-oriented, very partnership-oriented, and I think it's going to be very helpful to our economy.
You've got some bachelor's degrees that you're offering now. What are the most popular ones?
Well, we have two bachelor's degrees that are up and running right now. We're actually taking applications for them. Started in April and will run through July 3rd, I believe. And the two that we're taking applications for, one is a general business bachelor degree. Another one is a healthcare specialization, healthcare management degree as well. And these are folks that have earned their associate's degrees already and want to get into the management ranks in whatever their industry may be. And so anyone who'd like to apply can apply, and we look to see if they have the types of credentials they need to move on through that path.
Do you have the demand that you were expecting?
We have more than the demand than what we were expecting. We don't have any final numbers at this point since the process is still ongoing, but suffice it to say the interest has been very strong.
How do you measure the quality of Eastern Florida State College or BCC? I mean, you must watch certain indicators. Well, parents like me, a lot of times will look at U.S. News and World Report overall rankings, but there must be numbers that you look at as a college president that are more meaningful to you. What do you look for?
Well, in terms of quality, you look at when folks come to your college, are you retaining them to start with? Okay, are they just coming? Are you just getting people in the door, and then within a semester or 2 semesters, they're not there anymore? So retention is very, very important. And of course, we work very hard to make people feel very comfortable that they're in the environment that they need and want to be in. But ultimately, Matt, at the end of the day, we want folks. And folks are coming there because they want to graduate. And there's all different types of the certificate programs. There's Associate of Arts, degrees. There's AS degrees, Associate of Science. Now we have baccalaureate degrees. So we have a variety of degree in different tracks. But the idea is to not only come here, but to graduate. So when we look at that type of data, and that's online. That's the type of stuff you talk about. U.S. News and World Report. The Chronicle of Higher Ed also has a portal that's very helpful. Breaks down your college into states, regions, the country as a whole. Also talks about people that graduate and do they graduate on time? Meaning, are they graduating in 10 years for a 2-year program, or are they graduating in 2 or 3 years for a 2-year program? So they kind of measure that based on criteria that the federal government collects from all the institutions, and so you can really compare kind of where you are with a lot of places.
What do you do with a student who enters Brevard Community College, or later Eastern Florida? I imagine that at this level you have a lot of kids who think, I need to go to college, I'm not quite sure what I want to do. They weren't necessarily the people who are going to the University of Florida yet. Those seem like the types of people that might be at the highest risk of drifting and dropping out. What do you do to prevent them from doing that? That's
a great question. I'm glad you asked that. One of the things that I talked about as I became president about 15 months ago is for those types of folks, and really for all the folks that come to the college at this point, is to help to give them that direction. They really need some knowledge. They need some information, okay? And where do they get that information? We created a career center on the Cocoa campus. We have smaller career centers on each campus, but we have a large one on Cocoa. And what we try to do with anybody who comes to the college is very quickly on in their time when they get to the college is we try very hard through our advisors to get them over to the Career Center. And the reason that's so important, Matt, is when they come to the Career Center, they have all kinds of abilities over there to determine what the person might be interested in, what to give them a real clear path educationally, what it would take to get to that end. Are there jobs locally? Where are the jobs? What do the jobs pay? What's it going to cost to get there? What sort of, all the types of things that younger people or folks of any age really can learn about themselves and kind of will help them get that path. Once a person has a real goal in mind, and I think that's kind of where your question is they're just there, but they don't really know why they're there. Once they really have a goal in mind, people are motivated, and we'll help them get excited about the education that they're going to get at Eastern Florida State College. So I can tell you that Career Center has been a huge success. One of the major things we've done, I think, in a short period of time. The statistics are somewhere in the effect that we've had in the last year maybe 17,000 students go through the Career Center.
Wow, that's a lot of students.
It's a lot of students. Very, very proud of that.
What do you make of Governor Scott's ideas on higher education? A couple of the things that he's gotten the most attention for. One was, I guess it was about a year or two ago, when he said, well, universities and colleges should be more focused on jobs, not anthropology and some of these other majors. But this year he laid down a challenge that colleges ought to find a way to offer a bachelor's degree for $10,000. It was a pretty ambitious goal, but what do you make of that direction?
Well, I think the governor's about more people getting jobs and getting into the workforce. One of the challenges we have in Florida is that there are lots of jobs but they require a high level of skill, and so he's trying to find more folks to get those skills. And the Florida college system is really good at that. That's one thing we're very, very good at. To the extent you talk about the governor's $10,000 challenge, I would tell you that me, on behalf of our college, very quickly on, I think we were probably the 6th or 7th that actually signed on to that proposal to meet that challenge. And the reason I'm so excited about it, Matt, is we've been very fortunate. While other colleges will have tuition waivers and other ways of paying for that, I'll tell you how we're going to pay for it. We've already received private donations that exceed $500,000 that our foundation has put together that will meet the new bachelor's degrees in the medically related ones and the ones in technology. We'll use those dollars to offset that cost to make sure that they're $10,000 degrees. So we're very, very proud of that, and it's something that's going to serve anyone who wants to go into those very well, certainly economically.
Let's talk about security for a moment. I know that there was an incident. Thankfully, it didn't go into any sort of a harmful direction at the Cocoa campus, and there's, of course, have been a lot of talk about school shootings. Mm-hmm. Virginia Tech is still on people's minds. What has your college done? I understand you've teamed up with the sheriff's office in some fashion. Fill us in.
Yeah, just to give you a little background, I think it might be helpful to answer your question. It's something that I've thought about as becoming president a long time ago. Is what's the best way to meet those types of new challenges that our college and I'm sure many other colleges have. So over time, we've developed a partnership, and it's a partnership between the college and not only the sheriff's office, but each individual city police department that's on our campuses as well. Titusville on our Titusville campus, Cocoa on our Cocoa campus, Palm Bay and Melbourne as well. And what we've done is kind of a three-pronged approach to that end. On the one, initially what we did is we worked with their assessments team, their threat assessments team, to go onto each one of our campuses with our security folks and our management folks to figure out what's the best way to keep the threat assessment as low as possible. And of course, we've implemented things that need to be implemented, and we've worked to coordinate very closely how different scenarios would unfold. And so we're very appreciative of that. It's very important, and that's all been done. Additionally, we've had space set aside in each one of these campuses, small space, but space nonetheless, for substations for the police to be at any given time during the day or night. And of course, that would aid us in any kind of major incident on any one of the campuses. And the one that you referenced was obviously we were able to respond very quickly because of that situation that we had in terms of where that substation was on that campus. And then finally, the third part of the approach is that we're going to have an educational component for any new students, faculty, staff going forward to learn about, you know, the best ways to stay safe, just kind of being aware, situational awareness of what's going on around you, that type of thing. Kind of an educational component that I think will serve everyone very well, very good as well.
So much to think about, not just, you know, the scary mass shooting sorts of scenarios that have played out across the country in places,
right,
but also just how do you stay safe walking across a dark parking lot?
Exactly.
You know, and how do you protect your stuff if it's, you know, in your vehicle, as you know?
Exactly.
Do you still talk with student leaders? I had you on the program about a year ago to talk about how you were diving into the job as president, and one of the things you said you wanted to do was continue to talk with student government people.
Well, it's very important. One of the part of our strategic plan is to make sure that our folks have the collegiate experience they're looking for. In order to do that, you've got to be close to the students. You've got to understand. Right. You've got to understand, you know, kind of where they want to go with things. What are ideas they have? What are some concerns or problems they might have? So we do it on a couple ways. One is we stay closely connected with their leadership through student government in small meetings with them to kind of a, you know, anybody can say anything they like, and I'm more than happy to hear everything that folks have to say. But also we do it with student surveys as well, that we can put out, you know, obviously very easily. And folks can weigh in on whatever topics of the day happen to be.
What do students want these days?
Well, students want, I can tell you what, they want the types of opportunities that we're creating with these jobs, with all these different programs. You know, students these days, and I think they've always been like this, but I think even more so these days because of the economics in our region, our state, and our country, and, you know, spending their hard-earned money and putting their time into college has to have an economic payoff for them. And so they want opportunities when they leave that are going to find gainful employment. And if you see and look at the data of the programs we're putting together, you know, the salaries are quite good. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's really what they want.
What about living on campus? Do they want dormitories or fraternities and sororities, or are they primarily focused on that vocational track? You
haven't heard a lot about sororities and fraternities, to be honest with you. Remember that we are evolving, right, as a college, and I think we should be open to any of the ideas that our students have. In terms of dormitories and housing and those types of things, there is a trend within the Florida college system to do more along those lines. And I have heard, you know, from time to time folks talk in those terms. In order to take a look at any of those ideas or any other ideas, we're going to want to do it in a more data reflective way, more research related way to determine, you know, is there real consensus for that? And not only is there consensus for it, you know, how many folks would actually want to be part of it? What would the price points be? A lot of different things you'd have to look at. We'll do it in a very systematic way in the future, but we always want to be responsive to their needs.
You're going through some growth with athletics right now. I understand you're upgrading facilities. We have new programs. What's going on?
Well, again, part of the collegiate experience that we heard from our students when I became president was that they wanted if we're going to do athletics or we're going to do any kind of organizations, whether we're going to do any kind of you know, performing arts, let's do it well. And the college has always done it very well. But part of what we need to do to continue to grow, I think, is to have you know, improvements to our facilities. And so we've not only 3 years ago we created the women's soccer program, and as you know, last year they were in the finals of the national championships that we were very fortunate to be able to host here at the college. In fact, to that end, we've been informed that we have another 3 years that's been added on to our ability to handle the national championships here now. So we have, at this point, starting this fall, we'll have 4 years in total, and that's a huge economic impact to the community. In fact, I believe you all reported on the fact that it exceeds $1 million when folks come to town for that 1 week period of time, or 6, 7 days, whatever it is, the hotels they use and everything else that goes on in our community. So again, another community linkage. And so sports, we're doing them well, and we're doing them in a situation where the community benefits as well. So we're very excited about it.
I think I read in our archives that you have more sports programs than any other junior college in the state?
I believe that's correct. We have 9 now.
Okay.
We have 9. We added, the last 2 we've added was men's soccer, which again hasn't been up and running yet. It's going to start in the fall. We have hired a coach. He is recruiting.
Okay.
I think he's held a camp already on campus and whatnot. And also we have women's tennis. and we've hired a coach, and I think you had him in the paper last week. So we're moving forward on those fronts, and nine's a good number at this point, and we've done very well, and our basketball program's done well. All our programs are doing real well. So.
I believe a lot of this is being built at the Melbourne campus. Is that correct? Some of the new soccer facilities, practice facilities, and that kind of thing?
That's correct. The new soccer facilities are being built at the Melbourne campus. And interesting to that end, we've also built an intramural field. One of the things we rolled out last year in reliance on our student surveys is that they wanted some intramural sports. The college had not really had a vibrant intramural sports program. Yeah. So we're doing various sports, working closely with student government and students, and so they'll be playing on some of those fields as well.
Speaking of adding new facilities, you've got I think last time we talked, this college had just been approved to add a justice and fire training facility. What's going on with that?
Public Safety Institute.
Public Safety Institute, okay.
the terminology. Well, we're very appreciative of that opportunity to build that, and it's very, very much needed. The facility that's currently on the Melbourne campus is not in real good shape, and obviously the reason the legislature and the governor signed it.
It was an old basketball gymnasium or something back in the day.
It was. So certainly its time has come and gone probably. So we're going to build the new Public Safety Institute, a large building. It's being planned right now. Architects are working on it. Hope to have some final plans in place in the next probably 4 or 5 months, at which point we'll begin some building later in the fall, and I understand the time frame to finish that would be close to the end of 2014, hope to be in it in the first quarter of 2015.
I want to ask you a quick question about dual enrollment. How important is that to the college? I know from the high school perspective there's a lot of kids that participate in it, but it always comes up as something that people wonder about when it comes to budget cuts at the school district level, that sort of thing. How does it fit in?
Well, dual enrollment's a fantastic program, and it's the type of program that the college has embraced in its entire history. And I can't give you back exact dates of when it actually started, but it's been a good long while. The college leads the state in dual enrollment, and has, not just under my leadership, but many of the previous presidents prior to me. It's been a community-based idea that we've embraced fully, and would want to continue on in going forward, and definitely. So we actually have more dual enrolled students than just about anybody in the entire Florida college system, more credit hours than just about anybody in the Florida college system, and it's just a great opportunity for folks who want to, in a cost-effective way, get a head start on college. And part of what we're doing is we're looking for people to come to the college, graduate, and get into the workforce. So we're very supportive of it.
For our viewers who are not familiar with that, how does it work? I mean, you have high school students who are also taking college classes, or are they the same types of classes?
They're college classes, and I will tell you that over 90% of the classes that the folks take are on our campuses and right in one of our classes. So, so there are professors, for the most part, on our campus. So they're getting not only the educational bang out of it, but they're getting what it's like to be in a college campus. They'll have people in their classes that are not 16, 17, 18 years old. They'll be, our average age at the college is 25 years old. So you're getting good collegiate college experience by actually being on our campuses and being part of this program.
And earning a lot of credit in the process.
And you're earning a lot of credit. In fact, I think last year we had several hundred students graduate from high school and Brevard Community College at the exact same time.
That's a lot.
That's impressive for those folks in particular.
How's the King Center doing?
King Center's doing well. It's putting on great shows. I've been there quite often, and we just celebrated our 25th anniversary over there, which is very, very well done. I certainly appreciate the board at the King Center and Steve Janicki and my board of trustees at the college for all the support they've given over there. I think they've done a good job to financially secure the King Center. The endowments are doing well, and I really enjoy the programs, and I know our community does as well. So we had a rough patch a few years ago, but I think we've come through that, and its best days are ahead of it.
So the rough patch a few years ago was that it was running deficits and hadn't quite figured out what sorts of acts to have, I think, but it sounds to me like they're having some more success. Are they breaking even, or?
Well, they're breaking even or if not being a little bit ahead, I think at some point. But in the past, they have some deficit issues, and they're really primarily associated with certain types of shows that they haven't done much of, obviously, for obvious reasons, going forward. And that's one reason that they've turned the corner, in my view. So.
Did you have a good legislative session? Did our delegation treat you well? Big changes to tuition or anything like that? Or
our delegated set of folks did very, very well for the college. They always have. They work closely with us to make sure we're getting the types of things we need. We're very appreciative of what they do, and the governor as well. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of issues that go on. There's funding issues. There's education issues that are related to dual enrollment, or not dual enrollment, but developmental ed and some of the other types of things. But we're very pleased with how things went up in Tallahassee.
Jim Ritchie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's our headliner interview for this week. Remember to comment on anything you heard or saw today. Send an email to letters@floridatoday.com. We'll see you right here next week on WBCC, which may also have a new name sometime soon.